Hi, everyone. I'm Rick Barron, your host, and welcome to my podcast, That's Life, I Swear. My guest today is Mariah Bonner. I'm really thrilled to have her on my show again, and we were just talking briefly. It's been a little over 2 years since we last spoke, so there's a lot to be said here in today's conversation. Now, Mariah has graced the stage as a ballet dancer, a model, an actress. But more so, she's captivated her listeners with her voice as a singer. But her story doesn't end there. You see, Mariah decided to take a bold pivot. And what I mean by that, after building a career in the performing arts in the United States, Mariah made the extraordinary decision to leave it all behind and start a new life in Argentina. Yeah, as one would do. Now, Mariah has been living in Argentina for about 3 years now. And while there, she has found a new artistic voice. And I have to say, it's quite beautiful. Singing in Spanish, performing before Argentine audiences. And also, she's weaving herself into the rich cultural fabric of a country most of us only dream about visiting. Now, over the years, Mariah has also been documenting her new journey in a blog post. And if you haven't signed up for it, please do. She has lots of stories and beautiful photographs to share. And she shares her adventures, her struggles, and the ups and downs, if you will. But may I add, I am really honored to have her here on the show, excuse me. And I can tell you her story has only gotten richer. So please join me as I have my conversation with Mariah Bonner. Mariah, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Rick.
It's like I
Great
said,
to be here.
it's been a while. Gosh.
Yes.
Uh, and just to share with you too, I was looking at some past podcasts on YouTube, and I came across one where you did a podcast back in April with who was it?
Yes.
Mike and Brian.
Exactly. Sanity Lounge. Yes, I
Oh,
did. You had
I
me on there.
love I love that title. But I was really quite happy to have met your mom in a podcast she did.
Yeah.
And she is, you two are identical. You guys look so much alike. I can't
Wow,
believe
thank
it.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So let's get back to where we left off. When I first had my conversation with you back in 2024, I didn't realize that you had just made your move to Argentina. And
Yes.
I think, moving to Argentina, that is a major life shift and, a new
Yes.
language, new customs, new cultures. Can you walk us through that, if you will? How did you
Yeah.
get
So
there?
well, you and I spoke in May of 2024. So I had been there not quite a year. Um, my dad fell in love with Argentina over 20 years ago and brought me and my siblings and my mom down there um that long ago now. And he bought some properties that are actually working ranches. So there is cattle ranching, also vineyards for growing grapes, and then they're made into wine. And it came to a point where he wanted somebody to look after these properties and make sure they were moving in the right direction. And it turned out my husband was someone who was pretty qualified for the job. He loved the outdoors. He had lived in Colombia and studied farming there. And he was interested in it right away. So I liked Argentina. I just never imagined I would live there. And I
Mhm.
said, no, sure. As I was saying, he was the perfect person for the job, my husband, Adrian. And I said, "Well, sure, let's go." And I didn't really think, "Oh, we're moving there and, we're never coming back." Um, yeah, I just sort of thought, "Oh, maybe it'll be a year, maybe 2, it'll be a fun adventure. I'd love the change and
Mhm.
he's really into it, so why not?" And a friend of mine on the phone just asked me today, "So, do you think you'll be moving back to the States?" And I said, "Well, I can't really picture us moving back anytime in the near future. And the truth is we like it here. And
Mhm.
it seems to have been a good thing for us both. So,
Right.
that's where we may end up staying for a while.
Well, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. And you walk down, I mean, you go there with, you know, dreams, and then those dreams are then uh, altered, if you will, as time progresses. And who knows, maybe you decide, maybe this will be my new home. One never knows. You never know. What were some of the shifts that you had to go through? I mean, you're going through a new culture, learning the language, I would imagine too. And as I've discovered through your singing, you really have mastered the language itself.
Well, thank you, Rick. I spoke a little Spanish, but I mean, wow, nowhere near as good as I think I speak now. I can fumble my way through a show explaining what the songs are in advance, and I do sing in Spanish. Singing is always so much easier and different than speaking because you learn the script in advance, and it's just it's a different thing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so much looking back, so much of it was just overwhelming, I think, that I couldn't really take it in.
Mhm.
Um, and now I see how, I thought I knew Argentina because I'd visited it practically once a year throughout my teens and then into my adult life. But living here and living in any different country is really quite different from visiting, even if you do go and spend a month. Like it's just a different thing to
For
live.
sure. I mean,
So yeah.
no, no, no,
It's
no.
been a journey.
No, I can understand. I mean, you've been there longer, obviously for a good 3 years, but just my travels that I've taken with my wife to France, to Italy, to Portugal, the cultures are just so different.
Mhm.
And I think like when we went to Italy, we went to go have dinner at 5 o'clock. We walked in,
There was no
and
one.
and well, the waiter was there, but he looked at me as if like his look was saying, "You want to have dinner at 5 o'clock?" So
Are you sure you don't want a coffee, a cappuccino, maybe,
I
and a
know.
biscuit or something?
So
Yeah.
quickly, that's when my wife said, "I think their culture is different here. Let's come back in a couple of hours." So we came back like around 9, and it was full. I mean,
Yeah,
we got in, but that's part of the change one has to think about.
mhm,
It's not the same
definitely.
here as it is
Yeah,
in a different country.
no.
Um, Kind of pivoting a little bit here. I mentioned that you have been writing down your journey,
Yeah.
and as you've been there in Argentina, um, have you always been a writer, or was this just something you felt like I've got to record what I'm seeing here from day to day, week from week?
Well, a little, yeah. I mean, let's see. Have I always been a writer? Yes, I have because I'm the daughter of two writers and my mother encouraged me to keep a journal as from an age as young as I can remember. She encouraged
Hmm.
me to journal. And I don't know, I read a lot and I had been kind of had a recording journal going on. Um, and then when I moved down here, I just had this need to make it a regular thing and share it with more people because it helped me also feel less isolated and
Yeah,
less apart from all the folks I knew. So it started out as a small thing. I published it on Substack because that's where my dad publishes his work. And then he very nicely shared it with his list of readers. And then several of them followed me. So now I
wow.
reach new people. Yeah.
So
And I
when you
get
first,
feedback. So it's
oh
really
yeah,
nice. Like performing, you get feedback, and I realize that's something that one of the reasons I love performing is you get that feedback, and I really like that.
that's great. Now
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned the word isolation. Was it a little difficult for you at first? Because from what I've seen in your photographs, and I want to get back to your photographs in a second here, um, it appears as if you're far away from a close neighbor. I mean, it's like you have to travel 10 miles just to go see someone.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking to my friend about this morning. She said, "Wow, you do a lot of driving." And I said, "Well, the nearest city is a 4.5 hour drive."
Wow.
Yeah, we do a lot of driving. And, if maybe I had a different personality and I didn't like being in the city that much and it didn't bother me to be on a ranch that was really far from everything most of the time, then I wouldn't. But that's not me. I need to be in the city. I like
Hmm.
hustle and hustle. Um, and so I do drive a fair amount because of that. So, yes, it's a 4.5 hour drive from this ranch to the nearest city, which is Salta.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a fair drive. Now,
Yes.
your photographs, I read your blog a lot,
Okay.
and I do. I do. I love your writing. Uh, the photographs that you take, I've I've noticed they're very measured in that you just don't take a snapshot. It's like you put a lot of thought behind what you're going to take a picture of. Am I on the right track here? Because you don't seem to rush through this.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't take a lot of photos,
Hmm.
interestingly. I take photos when I see something and it speaks to me and I just wanna capture it, and I've even done this driving on the ranch because I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is an amazing shot," and I just stuck my camera out the window while I'm driving on this road that's, like, winding, and I did it. I don't know, it just I I I see something, it speaks to me, I get my phone, and I try to capture it, and sometimes it turns out and sometimes it doesn't, but I am glad that you enjoy them.
No, I do. I do. I think it really adds to the story that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you a visualization of what you're describing. Uh,
Right, it's illustration. It's not a drawing, it's an actual photo, and I think that was my dad who sort of said, "Well, you ought to put lots of photos in your blog," and I said, "Yeah, okay, I'm taking lots of photos, I'll put the photos in," and now it's true that, like, I talk about something and then I can say, "Oh, and this is what that is. It's what it looks like. This is that person," and, yeah, I enjoy it. I'm glad you do too.
right. I'll ask you one more question. I want to dive into your new musical career. What's been the biggest adjustment for you? And if I may, what's been the biggest adjustment for your husband moving down to Argentina?
Those are very good questions. For my husband, it might be that he is in a very demanding management role
Hmm.
where he needs to oversee several different product projects at once and a lot of people, learning terms in a language that is not his own and even not regular Spanish. It's like Argentine Spanish, but then Argentine Spanish from a specific region, from a tiny isolated community where they have their own words and even
Wow.
their own accent, which would probably be very hard to understand if you had to work with them. I don't have to work with them, so it doesn't bother me that much. But I would say that might be the biggest thing for him would be this management role that has a lot of responsibility for different projects and a lot of people and in different locations too. So the distances for him are even greater because he has to drive out to farmlands that are even further away from the actual
Wow.
house where I spend most of my time. So
Sure.
mm, I would venture to say that might be his biggest adjustment. For me, I think it was, oh goodness, uh, probably just the distance that it took
Hmm.
to get home to see my family was a huge adjustment for me, and I guess I wanna say, like, just the fact that I was close in time zone, but yet I was on the other side of the world, so my world
Right.
was flipped. When they're up and having summer, I'm, like, dressed like this, and when I go back at Christmas, like it's summer here, it's also the busiest time of the year for the farmlands here at Christmas. So like our sense of having time off is different from
Right.
like from folks back home. Yeah, I would say that might be one of the biggest adjustments.
Sure. Yeah, kind of on a side note, learning the language, my wife is Polish, so she and her sister are learning the language. They've been taking courses,
Uh,
and you talk about a very difficult language, the various tones, the way you announce the Z's, the Y's, very,
right.
very difficult. And they were wanting to go to Poland to visit some of her cousins that she has not
Wow.
seen in years.
Wow.
Uh, but due to, circumstances happening in the world, I was getting kind of worried. And when her sister was down here to visit us, um, and we talked about it, and they thought, let's see about going next year.
Mm,
Hopefully things will kind of calm down, so to speak. But I admire her because she takes copious notes as she's going through these courses. And
yeah.
she and her sister are, I mean, they study. They
Yeah.
don't take it lightly. They really put all the, and I'm so proud of her. I really am.
It's so amazing.
But let's get
And
back.
plus a different
I'm sorry.
alphabet too.
Oh,
Excuse
yeah,
me for interrupting, but a whole different alphabet. I mean, talk about
absolutely.
Spanish to English, at least the alphabet's the same. You could sort of make it up if you were reading it, but that
I mean,
is just
yeah, I mean,
totally
there's so many variations of how you would say hello. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking to a lady from Belarus in a couple of weeks. And our theme is she wants to talk about culture because she came here to the United States a couple of years ago.
mm,
So that's going to be our focus and how people look at different things in different lights, how they communicate. So that's going to be an interview that I think is going to be very interesting. But anyway,
yeah, that'll be
let's get to
fascinating.
your new music career. Now, I noticed over time, I saw you gradually starting to sing songs, and then I saw you in a cafe, and then I saw you like there was a small venue where you were talking or you were singing to quite a few people. But how did you get the boat started down there to get this new career of yours, and then having to learn the language to sing the songs? How did all this get started? Was this your your goal, or was it like I got to do something and let's do what I love?
Well, yeah, I don't know, Rick. That was a tough one for me because when we came down here, I knew that my career would be affected. I did not know anything about Salta. I didn't know if I would be having to take a hiatus and wait until I came back to the States to perform. I didn't know that if there was any market for what I did,
Mhm.
but I I sort of, took a couple months to get settled between June 23rd when we got here and in August, our lawyer's wife, it shows, you don't do these things on their own. It takes a village because our lawyer's wife said, "Oh, my daughter took singing lessons. I'm going to set you up with her teacher." And I thought, great, that'll be something. Who knows where it'll lead, but it's something I can do that I will love. I have to do something more than write a blog twice a week. And what am I going to, So I thought, okay, I'll start lessons. Not that I felt like I needed lessons, but I figured I had nothing to lose. So I go and I meet this lady and we have a few lessons. And she says, my brother is a guitarist, and he had a partner, a performing partner, and who just went back to his home country of Australia, I think it was. And she said, he would love to perform with you. I think, what can I introduce you? And so she brought him to one of my lessons. Turns out he's a very respected guitarist and singer in Salta, and we kind of hit it off and started working on a repertoire. And that was in August. And so in November, I presented my first show in a little cafe in Salta. And that was thanks to my husband because I figured, great, I have the guitarist. Now, where do I put this show on? Well, my husband had made friends with a fellow who owns a shop where they sell wine and dried fruits and specialty cheeses and imported goods. And you can also sit down and have a glass of wine, and you can have a charcuterie board, and anyway, he had made friends with this fellow. And so he said, well, I'm going to ask my friend if you can do your show there. So I did it there, and it was so lovely because he usually closes his shop at 8, but he kept it open for me, and he put little flowers on all the
Oh,
tables, had a sound system, of course. It was all very professional. And after that, I realized, oh, okay, there's a great musician. Here's a venue. There are more venues. I need to do more. This was well received, so that just gave me all the confidence I needed to just kind of go out there and
yeah.
do more
Yeah, I mean,
and
I
find.
I I think you had it. You just needed a spark to get you
That's
going,
it.
and I
I
think
had
that's
it.
what it was.
It was
Yeah,
inside. It's just that, yeah, the whole move and the not knowing and not being sure and kind of like just the wondering. And then it's like anything in life, and you're like, oh, yes, yes, I am good at this. Yes, I do love this. Yes, I can do it. And then you go ahead, but you need that spark, like you say.
do you think part of the fear was learning the language so that you could sing the songs? Because I would have to imagine, did you find yourself having to adjust how you delivered the song in the Argentine language versus if you did it in English?
Well, the thing is that first show, I think I did songs in French, English, Spanish, and I learned a song in Portuguese, which I had never done. And I remember telling my teacher, like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I have never sung in Portuguese. I don't even speak Portuguese. And she said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going to teach you because it's a great song, and it'll go great with your voice, and it'll sound good with the guitar. And she did teach me, and I did learn it, and I did perform that song. So I did Spanish, English, French, and Portuguese in that first show. Plus, I had to introduce the songs in Spanish, which at that point I did not master the language at all. But with the help of my teacher, I wrote everything down that I was going to say. I memorized it, and then I just did it, and it it worked. It was fine, and now I still do that, but because I would do it anyway.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I mean, it's performing. So once you learn the words to the song, you know what they mean. Doesn't matter if it's in French or Spanish or English. You still deliver it with emotion and confidence. At least I felt that I was able to achieve that, and I feel like I do that. Um, so I would say that the singing in the different languages wasn't a problem except the Portuguese. That was my biggest stress. I was like, I'm singing in Portuguese.
I
Okay.
know. You strike me as someone who's afraid to take the dive from the springboard, but once you do it, it's like, oh, this is a piece of cake.
Yeah, I think that might be it. I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure I can do it. I think yeah, it was just sort of like a big, huge, it's all seems so overwhelming. But thanks to this lady who introduced me to the teacher, who introduced me to her brother, who helped me put the repertoire together, who my husband who helped me find the venue, and it all just goes to show things do come together.
Sure.
And
Well,
I
like you
had
said,
to
it takes a village.
and it takes a village.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably few people who really do it all on their own. You need help. So,
You think the learning of these languages stems from the discipline, the skills you cultivated when you were an actress?
yes, I do. I think part of it comes from the fact that I moved with my family at 10 years old to France, speaking like 5 words of French, and then going to a French school and having to learn. I think part of it is natural. I have a good ear. Part of it was the necessity to learn French at a young age. And then part of it was the discipline that I had. from being an actress and studying in London and learning
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. So that all came in handy then.
It came in handy, didn't it? Didn't really know how that was all gonna pan out, but so
Yeah.
far,
Will I
so
ever use this again?
yeah, I know.
So,
Never in my wildest dreams.
so you've, from what I can tell, from your blog, you've done a lot of singing performances, and the venues have been very intimate. If
Mhm.
that's the best way to describe it for me. But are you entertaining the thought of perhaps maybe singing before a much larger crowd one day down there?
Yes, I am, and in fact, I have, um well, I'm planning my debut in Buenos Aires, I'll just say that.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That is amazing. Now, it reminds me, you talked about Buenos Aires as reminding you of like the South American version of Paris. Why is that? Can you say why?
Why does it remind me of Paris?
Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all, it's called the Paris of South America,
Oh, okay.
not just to me, but others say that too. And if you ever visit Buenos Aires or see photos of it, it makes sense because the architecture is very Parisian. The Haussmannian homes and the wide avenues, and it's on the water. There's a river that runs through it. It's a huge river, much bigger than the Seine because it's a lot wider, but still. And and it also has that very sophisticated cafe culture
Okay.
where people go and they'll sit down, and a waiter with a bow tie and a little waistcoat might come out and ask you what you want, and, it's a very, gracious city and also beautiful, and the architecture is, similar to that of Paris, so that
Mm,
is
wow. Going back to your blog, I saw some sequences where I think your parents were there, and
Yeah.
I, I believe they were at the church that your father had built.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
That was beautiful.
Yes.
What did that entail? What was that all about?
Well, my dad did build a little chapel here, at the ranch, and, well, I thought, "Gee, we ought to inaugurate this and, have it blessed by a priest," and so I organized that with the local priest, and he came, and we invited all the people from the community here.
Wow.
And they attended a mass, we blessed the church, we inaugurated it and dedicated it to Saint Cecilia, the patron saint of music. My dad loves music, and that's, I think, where I get my love for music. And so we dedicated it to her, and then afterwards, we had some long tables set up on the gallery, um, at the house, and our housekeeper and helper had made a big stew so that we could
Wow.
all have a nice nosh together afterwards and celebrate. So that's what that was, and it was really special.
Wow. With your blog writing, have you ever thought maybe one day taking all of that and then incorporating it into a book?
Yeah, sure.
Why
Sure.
not?
Yep, absolutely. It's a great idea. I, you asked me if I've always been a writer. What's funny about my family is that my mother's mother was a writer and did publish several books, including a book of her own. She had a blog sort of her own, and it was published in her local paper once a month. And so her children compiled all the blog entries that she'd made and had them printed up into a little book. Um, so I do sometimes think, oh, yes, at some point, maybe a book is in my future. I just don't know about when, but I think that's a great idea and I'd love to.
No, because I've come across several authors. I'm trying to get an interview with the author who wrote the book called The Correspondent. I don't know if you've heard of
Oh,
that.
yes. I think
So
I have.
I'm kind of working on that, but I was really fascinated with the storyline and how it was presented. And um, another tidbit, I took a course at Stanford a couple of years ago on how you create stories for podcasting. And one of the ladies I met, uh, she's a writer, and she was kind of a struggling writer at that time.
Mm, mm.
And I interviewed her, I think about the same time frame I interviewed you, as a matter of fact. And she had some books in line ready to get published, but it's a very competitive, very tight field to get into. And about 3 months ago, she contacted me and she said they're going to publish my first book. So
Wow.
I said, "Oh my God,"
So
So it
exciting.
is, because she showed me kind of the rough outline of that book,
Yeah.
and I told her, "You must be numb with excitement." And she said, "I am, because
Yeah.
I waited so long for this moment, and now
Yeah.
it's here." But then on top of that, she had a second book. Oh, she had 4 books in total. I guess the publisher saw the second book and they said, "We'll do this one next year."
Mm.
So I told her, I said, "You know what? Your moment has arrived. You So we're going to be talking again about the book. I've already ordered the book. I'll be getting it in September.
Oh,
But
that's fab.
that's like getting back to you. You never know what you have right there in your hands. That I guess it's like that springboard analogy. You're
Yeah,
kind of
that's great.
hesitant, but then you dive
Yeah.
in.
Gotta go.
Well, I mean, talk to your mom, talk to your dad. I mean, I'm sure. But
But I
no,
also feel that you'll know when the time is right. I feel that way anyway. I mean, I guess I've felt like so many big hurdles. I thought, "Oh, I can't do it. I'm not ready." But
that's fair.
you get some kind of sign or or guidance from a person or something that makes you feel, "No, I am ready." But there are probably instances where you don't need to wait around for that. You can just go ahead and decide you're ready. I don't know.
No, I think that's I just thought I'd throw it out there and see if that was something that was in the back of your mind. But getting back to your music, I I think I saw somewhere you have a new album coming out.
I released a single.
Oh, okay, single.
Yeah, it's out. It's called "Wild is the Wind." It's a song written by Dmitri Tiomkin with lyrics by Ned Washington,
Hmm.
and I recorded it with 3 fantastic musicians in Baltimore while I was there in April, and, their names are Seth Keibel, Sean Lane, and Bob Abbott. We recorded it in a studio, and I had it mastered right away and just released it, just the last month in May.
Wow.
So, it's called "Wild is the Wind," and it's on all platforms: Spotify, Deezer, YouTube, Apple Music, and
So is that a good way to describe you? You're wild as the wind. When you are performing in Argentina, do you kind of mix it up where you insert Argentine songs along with American songs? Because I know you like such people as what's it, Cole Porter?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, you know what I did for I had a show on Saturday, and I I did a whole show, which was really the theme was, uh, Under Paris Skies. So I did a selection of American standards with French songs,
Oh,
like Piaf tunes, Michel Legrand, but I also had Cole Porter and Gershwin. But because I wanted to insert something that I was certain that my public would know, I put in there Bésame Mucho, which is not Argentine, but it is a bolero. It was written by Consuelo Velázquez, and it is from where exactly? I'm not sure, but everybody knows that. And so what was cool was they knew some of the songs I was singing, but they didn't know them well enough that they could sing along. But as I put in the title of my recent blog, Argentines love a good sing along. So
Oh,
I added in Bésame mucho because I was like, I should have one song in Spanish and I should have one I'm certain they'll know. And so sure enough, I invited them all to sing with me on the chorus and they were all like, "Yes, bésame." A little video of it in my recent blog too because it was such a great moment, and thankfully one of the audience members had captured it and she sent it to me. So I put it in
oh,
there.
sweet.
Yeah, I guess I like to do a mix of songs, and some in Spanish, some in English, some in French, because that's me. Just a I'm not only a Latin performer. I'm not only in French or American. I incorporate them all because that feels right to my style and to my essence. So, and I do think it's also strategic because I want them to connect with at least one song where they can really be part of it, and that's fun for them and for me.
I think that's a good strategy to mix it up with the audience because I think it's something.
Mhm.
It's uh, I guess I would say it's refreshing to hear a different outcome of what they think they're going to hear that night.
Yes.
And I think they walk away with, okay, that was very interesting. And, I think from from when you first got there to how all this unfolded to where you are today, um, uh, imagine not only your husband, but your parents must be extremely proud of you.
I hope so.
You hope so?
I hope so. Well, I think that may be, so, um
Now, I noticed that sometimes I guess you make it a rule to go back to Maryland every Christmas?
Yeah, I generally do, and I do that because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and
Right.
every year there's the lighting of the monument, which is a really big deal for our city, especially for my neighborhood, Mount Vernon. And my parents always have a little get together, and it's a fun way to kind of get back home and see lots of folks. And I also like to do my Christmas show
Mhm.
tour, so I'll do a few shows while I'm there in Maryland
Well,
as
that's
well.
great. I know,
Yeah.
kinda segue here, watching the podcast of your mother,
Uh huh.
on the show there in Maryland, she
Yeah.
is quite the history buff.
Yes. Oh, she is. Yes.
Wow, I mean,
Yeah.
I was just astonished what she does in Maryland, uh, taking old homes, buildings, and then refurbishing them, and just listening to her, talk to David and Brian, uh, the history that comes out of those particular structures
Yeah.
is amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. And how long has she been doing that?
A long time. She has been very involved in restoring buildings, specifically in Mount Vernon, which is our neighborhood.
Mhm.
Um, Stanford White buildings. There's a couple of those that she has restored and beautified. Um, I guess I would say, since I was little, she was in the business of buying, refurbishing, and renting buildings,
Wow.
in Baltimore, and so that was something she was kind of always in, and then later when we moved to Mount Vernon, and specifically the family business headquarters, she became very invested in the neighborhood specifically of Mount Vernon. So, it's her passion, and she is darn good at it.
Hmm. Boy, just looking at your career when I first spoke with you to where you are now, um, your mom, your dad's quite the entrepreneur, and your brothers, I think one of your brothers has a vineyard in Argentina.
Yeah. Well, it's a family-owned, vineyard, but he
Mhm.
runs sales of the wine, and he has his club, the, his private wine club that
Hmm.
you can be a member of and subscribe to. It's Bonner Wine Partnership. I hope I'm right. That's how he sells the wine, and yeah, he's Will Bonner, and he's my oldest
Yeah.
brother.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is that you and your siblings have been influenced, inspired, if you will, by your parents because you've all kind of gone in your directions of what truly is a love and a passion for you, like you in acting, singing, and then your brothers in the vineyards. Both of your parents have done quite well. Um, and your husband, I mean, taking on that task from what you described, um, talk about multitasking.
I know. I don't know how he does it. I really don't.
No,
It's impressive. I
that's pretty
kind
impressive.
from where we started to where we are now, I mean, gosh, he has just learned so much and gotten a handle on things which are pretty tough. But going back to my parents, I mean, you don't choose your parents, although there's a train of thought that says you do, and maybe I did choose them. I don't know. But they ended up being my parents, and I'm really grateful because an example of perseverance and kindness and dignity, I couldn't have gotten a better one. Plus, they're all around supportive and tell me to go for it, honey.
No,
So
yeah,
that's pretty great.
jump off that springboard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they do.
uh,
You can
so a
do it.
couple, so little tidbits here. Uh, when you get on the stage, do you have kind of a ritual, like, say a quick prayer, pull in your ear to kind of be like, okay, here I go, I'm going to knock
Yeah,
it
I
out
can't
tonight.
do it. Here I go. Here I go. God, I've done the work. The rest is in your hands.
So
I don't know, I spend a day getting ready and kinda centering myself, and then yeah, just kinda go for it.
that's great. God, good for you. If someone were to do what you've done to come down to Argentina or even a different country to leave, say, the States, uh, what advice might you give them, knowing what you've been through in the 3 years that you've been there, adjusting to the culture and what have you?
I would say keep an open mind,
Hmm.
and easy does it. Um, Keep an open mind because you are going to be so far out of your depth a lot of the time that if you can't open your mind enough to try to see their perspective or even just try to understand what's going on generally, you you're going to be lost. It's not going to work.
Hmm.
The other thing, easy does it. I say that because you need to easy does it with you because there are days you won't feel so great and you kind of wonder why did we do this and you'll be kind of homesick and you need to kind of realize that it's part of it and doesn't necessarily mean it was a wrong choice or that you shouldn't have done it. It just means, yeah, it's kind of hard and you might just need to call up a friend or book a ticket to have a quick trip home or something, you need to just be kind of, yeah,
Well,
easy.
I mean, you think about, you know, your husband getting the opportunity, and then you two decide, okay, let's do it. And there was probably a reason why you said yes. And I,
Yeah.
you're probably finding that out right now, day by day. And I think, some people are afraid to do that. But I know of a person, she came from India. And the one thing she told herself she would do that when she got here to the United States is not sit in her apartment and, okay, I'll go out there and explore next week. I'll
Mm,
do it next month. She,
mm,
bam, did it right away and went
that's
out
good.
there. And that's how she started to adapt, learn the cultures, the habits, if you will.
Mhm.
And I guess that's one way to approach it.
Yeah, yeah. I would say it was a lot easier being together with my husband. I didn't do it alone. So, he had strengths that I didn't have and vice versa. So we helped each other. His Spanish was much better than mine when we got here. And,
Hmm.
that was something that helped me out a lot because my Spanish wasn't really good enough. And so,
Well,
yeah, all
you
kinds
know,
of things.
I mean, Mariah, I'm Mexican and I don't know the first way or how to speak
Oh,
the language.
really?
My parents raised me, they would always speak to me in English. And I
Wow.
never just said,
Get
hey,
a
well,
beer?
can I learn some of the Spanish? And we never
Oh,
got to that part, and it just, so what I'm getting at hearing your story and then watching my wife, uh, and she's even challenged me. I said, I want you to start learning how to speak Mexican. And I said, no, no, my wife is petite, but boy, when she tells you to do something, you better do it.
wanna pay attention.
Yeah, I do. So I told her, okay, I'll take it on. I'll take it on. So
That's
I'm gonna have
great.
to feed it in with a friend of hers is taking a Spanish course. So I want to talk to her and see how can I get enrolled in that. I don't know if she's at the beginning stage of it, but you know, I'm going to be 77 in a couple of months. And
No way.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
congratulations.
I chalk it up to good scotch. Um, no,
Black
uh,
preserves you.
no. Well, I've been blessed with some pretty good genes. My parents lived to the mid 90s. My mother's um, grandfather, who was my great grandfather, lived to be 103. So,
Good.
yeah, longevity in both sides of the family goes far. So, I'm hoping I can, make it that far. But that's why I want to enjoy every day as it comes to me because, when you reach my age, every day does truly become a gift. It really does. So, I guess with that, I've done something different now with my interviews. I usually conclude our conversation with what I call speed round questions.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a little spontaneity, if you will.
Okay.
So I've got six here. So let me ask you the first one. What was the best live concert you ever attended and why?
Oh, oh. Maybe my first one.
Oh, it could be your second one. I don't know. Okay,
Well,
what was the best one? Yeah, it doesn't have to be the first.
I think this yeah, well, I don't know. I would just say, seeing Weezer
Weezer?
live, yes, in California, where I had not actually been to a concert before. This was my
Okay.
first concert, and it was so amazing to me because here they were in their white suits, like, bouncing around the stage, and it was so fantastic. That sticks out, but I would say actually that wasn't the best concert. The best concert was seeing Guns N' Roses live at Coachella on their big
Ooh,
Come Back Together reunion tour. That was amazing, and Axl Rose was sitting in a chair for the entire concert because he'd broken his leg or injured his leg in some way, but still, he's, like,
no.
melting it out. That was hands down the most amazing concert I have ever seen in my life.
Amazing in what sense?
Oh my gosh, just the performers, the
Uh-huh.
level of performance, presence, and mastership of the stage that they had, plus the music. It's like it's such, iconic music. It's
Mhm.
iconic, and I got to see it live, and it felt like touching history. That's how it felt.
That's a great way to put it. I like that. Oh my God. Okay. What do you wish you had more time to do and why?
What do I wish I had
Time to do.
more time to do and why? Ooh. Hmm. That's a hard question because I feel very blessed that I have time to do things that are important to me. Um, I guess you can never have enough time in life, and we don't ever know whether you're 77 or 35 or 20, don't know when our day will come. So I guess for me, I just like what you said, I wanna take every day as a gift, and I don't wanna take it for granted.
No, that's true. No, I love that.
The time I
Well,
have is all I have, so I hope
exactly.
I use it well.
Yeah. What was your first paying job?
Hmm. Well, first paying job that I can remember, I may have had a one earlier, like helping my dad in his office in the mailroom or something. I can't remember that. I have no real recollection of that other than envelopes, and I'm not sure I actually got paid for that. So I will say that officially my first paying job was when I was 14 and I was selected to be in the catalog for the big department store in Paris called Printemps, and I was their model, and that was all very exciting because it was the big department store, which they closed and then reopened. Um, they reopened it recently. I don't know exactly when, but that would have been my first paying job
Okay.
officially.
Okay. So this is a good segue. So speaking of your parents,
Yeah.
if your parents wrote a book about you, what would the title be and why?
You know what? I reckon the title of the book would be How Do You Solve a Problem Like Mariah? And that would be because as much as they love me, they are well aware that wild is the wind. This girl is, I would say they might call me a gem. They love me dearly, but they are well aware of my character defects. So I would
No,
say that might be the title of the book. How do
I,
you
I,
solve
I,
a problem like Mariah?
I don't know if it would be a defect. It's just you, I think in some ways they probably would look at you and say, I wish I could have that kind of spirit that she has.
Oh,
Because
no.
some people see other people and say, like, gosh, I wish I could be like that.
Well, yeah, I guess so. We spend a lot of our life doing that, don't we? But what we don't
Yeah.
realize is that we have our own wonderful attributes that other people are probably thinking, "Gee, I wish I had that." You know?
Okay, I got two more for you.
Okay.
Um, what's your favorite comfort food?
Ooh, that
You just want to sit back and just,
you know, I recently told my husband that if there's one thing I felt like I really missed most, it would be our local Nepalese restaurant in Baltimore. That was my favorite comfort food on a down day or a really tired day. Just go and order the momos, the chicken tikka masala, a nice naan with a cup of
well,
hot lemon water and salt and turmeric. And that is like comfort food for me. Love that.
I've never heard of those foods before. What type of
Oh,
food is that?
Nepalese food.
Wow.
Yeah.
I,
Probably
I
a
didn't,
lot of crossover with Indian food, but in our
oh,
neighborhood,
okay.
there are a lot of Nepalese people and they have restaurants there, several of
Oh,
them actually. And so
okay.
that's my comfort food, go to
Well,
every time.
I learned something here. Okay, final question. Uh, what would you attempt to do if you knew you just couldn't fail? I think it would be smooth sailing. Nothing could stop you.
Well, realistically, what I would attempt to do is a few things. I would pitch myself to the Cologne Theater in Buenos Aires and pitch a show there with a backup orchestra. I would also pitch myself for a tour in Japan because I am certain that they would love my type of music. If I was sure I couldn't fail, I would do both those things. And I reckon those things could come to pass. Um, I think that's what I would do.
That's pretty grand scale.
Yeah, it is.
Boy, I don't hear any doubt in that.
It's in God's hands. I
I
have to
know.
do my part.
Have you ever been to Japan? I have.
No, have you?
Oh, yes. I was there when I was in the service, and I got to see a lot of the countryside. I got to see a lot of Tokyo. Magnificent city. I mean, I went down there at night with some of my friends, and I never seen a city so lit up. It was just, it was like an assault on the eyeballs. You didn't know what to look at first. So,
Well, my brother went there recently and he said, Mariah, you would love it. And there are so many little intimate cabaret rooms. They love music. It
well,
would
they
be
do.
fabulous. You should go. I would like, oh, how do I do that?
Dad, do we have anything we could do in Japan?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Mariah, I really appreciate you taking the time, the second
Oh,
time to
okay.
speak with me. I mean,
Thank you.
again, I can't imagine it's been over 2 years. I just thought, I need to talk with her again and
Oh,
to see how you're doing.
thank you
And
so much. I really
no,
appreciate it.
you have a lot of dreams. Dreams I think you can come true, like the one with Argentina and then going to Japan. Um, I don't know. I think I see you doing that.
Oh, well, from your lips to God's ears.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So listen, I want to thank you so much again. And to the guests who are listening to this episode, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.